Hi everyone, welcome to Raise to Rise podcast, a place where we discuss bite-sized wisdom nuggets with easy-to-follow practices to live a better life. Raise to Rise podcast is supported by Ayurvedic Seva. Ayurvedic Seva is an herbal dietary supplement line set out to change the industry by dedicating the company to quality, safety, and holistic approach on making the wellness journey safe, healthy, and natural. If you want to start adding some natural herbs in your life, then head over to ayurvedicseva.com and use our promo code Raise to Rise for 30% discount. Once again, it's ayurvedicseva.com and use our promo code Raise to Rise for 30% discount. I am your host, Mital Patel, a parenting junkie, Ayurveda enthusiast, and an advocate of conscious living. Thank you, Shyama, for being with us, and we really appreciate you taking your time out, and welcome to Raise to Rise show, and we really appreciate your time and efforts to show up here today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm really looking forward to
it's so funny that how we got connected on Instagram, and gotta love Instagram to connect us, deeper with all these, super moms and who are trying to better, like not trying, but they're working so hard to, to make our lives better with having kids and implementing new practices. So yeah, I really appreciate your presence on social media and sharing your practices, and I'm always learning a lot from you.
Thank you. Likewise.
Thank you. And I know you're very big on Ayurveda. You're very much into the motherhood. And today, like I really wanted to introduce this whole topic about Ayurveda and motherhood and how can we, implement these practices with our kids. So for those of us our listeners who are not aware of the Ayurvedic practices, this is your chance where we're going to ask Shyama a lot of questions, and you can all benefit. And maybe Shyama, you can share a little bit of simple practices for them where they can also start implementing in a daily practices. So we'll go in that in when we get there. But the first thing that I really want to ask you is, what led you to the Ayurvedic lifestyle?
That's really interesting. Well, I just wanted to say what Ayurveda is. Ayur means, life, and Veda means science. And so it's actually the science of life. And what led me to the science of life is I was working as a nurse in New York City for a while. And I never really believed in Ayurveda because I was always into the regular quote unquote medicine. And my mom was really into it growing up, and I always thought it was some hocus pocus thing, and I never really was like, okay, would roll my eyes all the time. And then when I started working, I really saw that I had a really imbalanced body. Like I couldn't go to sleep because of the night shifts during the day. It was messing it up. My menstruation was off, lots of hair falling out, anxious, really, really dry skin, brittle nails. And I started thinking like, oh my gosh, what can I do? So obviously I didn't go to Ayurveda first. I was like, okay, well, let me see. I'll take some pills. Okay. A lot of nurses take
that's what we do. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So antihistamines didn't work. And then I was like, sleeping pills. And then they had those, weird effects. And I was like, I'm do this to myself. So then I ended up, really struggling and having a really hard time focusing everything. And then I ended up bumping into my friend Divya Alter, and I saw how she changed her life.
She's amazing. I don't know much about her story, but I went to her restaurant once, and I just said like, oh my gosh, you're doing so great. The food was amazing. And I was so new to Ayurveda at that time. Just like you, my mom, my parents, and my grandma was big into it. But I was like, oh my gosh, like not again. And they would get me all these herbs. I was like, oh my gosh, I am not doing this. So I was never into these things either. But I was like, somehow I got into it, and that's a whole new story. But when I met her, and she's so humble.
She's so humble.
And then I got into her work, and it's amazing what she's done.
It's amazing. And So I'd known her for some time, and I saw that she changed her life around, and she was ill before, and I saw, wow, like, what are you doing? Help me. And she's like, well, why don't you check out Dr. Teitelbaum, who's in New Jersey, in Cinnamon's in New Jersey.
She is so good too.
She's amazing. She's changed my life.
Yeah, her book is phenomenal.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
You need to get her on the podcast. She's amazing.
It's so, I actually have reached her out, but I haven't got back to her, and I'm thinking about calling her now, because I have her number, like, because she has a clinic right in South Jersey. So like, I'm literally gonna drop by someday and like, hey, do you want to come on my podcast?
Exactly. After probably coronavirus stuff is over.
Yes, I'm definitely going there.
Yeah. She probably has more time right now, just because she's seeing people over the phone.
Yeah, I'm a knock on her door.
Yeah. And so, I went to see Dr. Teitelbaum, and, I was like rolling my eyes the whole time. In the meantime, my mom's always like, why don't you go try this herb, try this, try this, try this. And I was like, no, whatever. I'm not listening to you. And so anyways, it was a last resort. I went to Dr. Teitelbaum just because I had faith that it really changed Divya's life.
Right.
So then I went and I saw Dr. Teitelbaum, and she gave me all the things that I needed to do. And I looked at her, I was like, there is no way I can do this.
Right.
Like, just try whatever you can do, just a little bit. So I started doing a little bit, and oh my gosh, in a month I saw a difference. I started getting my proper menstruation. It wasn't painful. I was sleeping better, and I just felt more in my body, in myself, rather than really anxious all the time. And then I was like, maybe there's something to it after all. Right. And then I eventually studied with Vaidya Mishra, and I love his teachings because they're really pure, and they're very he basically talks from the ancient texts,
of course, they all,
but he's also a medical researcher, and that's very important.
Makes huge from us, when we're from a science background, we really want something, because because our mindset is so different. We work on proofs and okay, we need some clinical study done, some research done. So when we hear back from who are already in medical profession, who are doctors or researcher, then it makes a whole lot of sense, and it makes it easier for us to digest too. And it kind of like, oh yeah, you know what, he was a doctor at one point, or he was from a medical profession.
Yes, or he does research or whatever, and that helps. But one thing he did teach me was that with so many research studies and correlating to the Ayurvedic practices back in the day, that I started gaining more faith in the texts and the knowledge. And because the little practices I was doing with Dr. Teitelbaum, it was changing my life. And one thing that really I was having a hard time was because I was working the night shift. And, that really messed up my health. And I asked her, I was like, well, I can't really change the night shift. It's hard to get day shift. And she's like, just pray about it, attract it to your life, and it'll come. Next month, someone was leaving, and I got a day shift. And I swear it was just like amazing, because it was so good for my health, and I started getting a little bit more confidence. Okay, well, let me go study a little bit deeper, and that's how I started, actually. It was always part of my life, but as growing up with my mom, but actually, when you hit a health crisis, when you hit rock bottom, it really makes you question, what am I doing? What can I do to flip this around? And not getting any sleep, it just makes you bonkers.
And I feel like it's also the awareness, if we are aware of those things, because a lot of time we're so numb that we don't even realize that, oh my gosh, I think I really need to do something. Because we get so attracted to our be it our cold beverages or coffee, or it just, we don't want to give up on what we're doing. So we're all we also have this, oh my gosh, it's an Ayurvedic lifestyle that it has to be tough, or, you know, I won't be able to do it. Like people, we're also so afraid, but that's another thing that we need to create the awareness around, that it's not that hard. And it's like, you know, we can all tweak our lifestyle, and just getting some of those principles, add those principles in our life, and we can like really tweak in.
Absolutely. And I think it's hard because we're conditioned to a certain way of living.
Yes.
Actually, that way of living, and I learned this the hard way. That way of living is not conducive to our natural bodies. No. We're made of nature, you know, as natural elements. And as you know, but if we try to fight against the grain and we try to live not in accordance to the nature's principles, what ends up happening is nature has a way of saying, hold on a second, you're not supposed to be living like that.
Exactly. Just what's happening right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Because we're going against nature, and then, you know, it just it manifests, you know, itself. But that, so I love that how you got into it. That is, and so after, like, did you finish your study, or were you like applying these practices at the same time?
So I finished my study with Vaidya Mishra. So, and then in the meantime, I was still applying it, and I had so much faith in applying the principles. I just wanted to know more textual references and the effects. And so I studied with him, and I oh my gosh, it was such an amazing course. And then what ended up happening was, you know, I had my child, and he's 2 now, and it's been so beneficial, actually.
That's what I was just gonna ask. That as a mom, how are you handling? Because doing Abhyanga, having our kid around, like, you know, how are you doing it? So being a mom, how does it benefit also? So that other moms can,
because it's a big part of my life. It's what the child learns. For example,
because they see it.
Yes, they see it. It's exactly, if you want them to follow something, you need to do it yourself. And the way that you do it yourself is by seeing how it has an impact on your health, and then you might get addicted to it. So, for example, every morning we have stewed apples. That's just something that I've always done, because I know I have digestive issues, and I had digestive issues, and I know that that's something that really helped me ignite my digestive fire, my Agni, so I can better process my foods. And so, although Dharma is his name, when Dharma wakes up, he's starving. So he doesn't have it the first thing in the morning. He has like porridge or something like that in the morning. And then, even though I can't give it to him first thing in the morning because I haven't made it or I haven't been organized enough, and sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes he just wants a hearty meal. Like,
I mean, and Ayurveda is all about, like, it doesn't have to be perfect.
Exactly.
You know, it doesn't have to be perfect.
But we have that rhythm where he has it as a snack after porridge, with an allocated time between. And so I think it's really great. So for example, that's something that I do. I try to put, stewed apples like in an instant pot, for example, to make my life easier. So when I come downstairs, I put the timer on, I cut it the night before, ready, and it's done. The other thing is, he started saying,
I'm actually gonna give it a try, because it takes me so long. I mean, then my little one's like, oh, mama, food, and then, you know, somebody else will give them something. So I'm the only one who follows these practices. Like in my house, like my mother-in-law doesn't follow, my husband doesn't follow. They are all, because, you know, they haven't. My husband kind of does it because of him, he had a depression. So because of him, I got into it. So I'm not even 100% following all the practices in the house. But yeah, I like that instant pot. So yeah, I'm gonna steal that. The idea.
And then the other thing that you can do is, what we do is, Dharma started saying Abhyanga at like 8 months old, just because it was such a rhythm that we had. In our bedtime routine, we would do massage.
Yeah, so I have a 3-year-old. So he says, Mama, oil time? Oil?
Yeah.
So we don't say Abhyanga in the house. Oil. Did you put oil on your body? So
that's nice.
Yeah, so we do oils every day, and they know it.
And it's so funny because, you know, he'll see me do it. So I rub my arms, or I put my leg on like a stool or something, and he'll put his leg on his stool and he'll do it. It's just like copying.
Yeah.
But you're probably wondering as a mother, well, how do I fit in a
that's what I was just gonna ask, like, because I have a very hard time, because when I'm in the shower or something and I'm putting on oil and I get knocks, mama, can I get this? Okay, like, and in the morning the kids want their mother for some reason, even if they have grandmas or grandpa around them. So how do you do that?
It doesn't have to happen every day, but maybe one day out of the week where you have a self-care day. Like today was my self-care day. It's Sunday. So my husband takes care of Dharmasetu in the morning, and then I have, you know, just before us meeting, I did a bath and a Abhyanga, and it was great. So even if you can implement it like one day a week, or, you know, twice a week, it benefit. It really does. It really calms the nervous system down. And as mothers, you know, I learned this. I'm already very high Vata, and being a mother, it's like even more Vata.
Yes.
So, because you're always on the go, you can never eat a nice hot meal all the time, and it's like.
I so resonate with that, because as a mother, we are always on the go, and then we are like always. But even my Prakriti is like, you know, I'm a Vata Pitta, and so because I'm like always on the go, always running, doing, and then you have like so many mental tabs open too, so it creates more Vata. So I really agree that doing Abhyangas calms us down.
Absolutely.
And that's a huge benefit that we can all, you know, have, because in current situation also, like, you know, in this whole uncertainty, we really want to calm down, and sometimes we just can't calm down. So oil is our friend.
Yes, and oil is said to really nourish the nervous system and really be able to, you know, calm you down. So that's a great practice, and I find it very, very helpful being a mother. The other thing is, I try to eat at least one meal in quiet, and that usually ends up happening. Right now, my child is napping, so I try to eat when he's sleeping. I try to eat something while he's eating as well, just so he knows.
Just so that he,
but other than that, I think it's really important. Even if it's one meal, if you can just sit down and eat
one warm meal, and when we're like present fully. So for me, it's like a dinner time. So 6:30 is like when I get to eat that, like, you know, warm meal. We all sit, and so we all sit together for dinner, and we have like most of the time, no talk policy. We try to stick with it, but sometimes it gets hard, because my little one wants to run around, and he doesn't want to eat or something. So that sometimes gets hard, but we have this like a no gadget and no talk policy some days, and where we're just focused.
Really great.
We really have to have that one meal, like you said, like, you know, with full focus, like, you know, being present there. So like because, you know, we can just go on and on that whole, like, how does it benefit? But what advice would you give to a mom who wants to implement? These are the things that you would tell them, like, to do, like, small practices. So like,
just take it one day at a time. You know, don't overload yourself. I think it's really important to understand that Ayurveda has so many things you can do.
For sure.
It's one thing that you can incorporate to your day, whether it's apples or hot water, with, you know, I have this. To you. I fill this jar with just my tea with like ginger and stuff, and it's hot, and I drink it throughout the day. It's really helping me just
I do CCF all day, because I also have like a lot of pitta, so I do have like I have an opposite issue. Probably you have a digestion because of your vata and kapha, right? And I am, because I can tell. And for me, pitta is, so I get heartburn. So I have to do like, you know, different, that would myself down.
And so exactly. So one of the practices it's so hard to drink water as a mother. And
For sure.
oh my gosh, it's very difficult. Sometimes, some days you're just running around and you just forget.
Yeah.
But one of the things that you can do is just sip on water, hot, warm water, with some herbs and spices. For example, ginger, fennel, CCF tea is great, or coriander, cumin, fennel.
Yeah.
That's really great. I think it's really important to just nourish yourself somehow, and finding ways of, whether it's one Ayurvedic practice of finding a way for it to nourish you. So whether it's hot teas or, abhyanga or having stewed apples, start with something small.
Something small.
It doesn't have to be big. And then you'll notice that actually with these little changes that your little one will start doing it, or your family will start doing it, and it'll encourage them and you to do it a little bit more.
And it also gives us okay, yeah, we have this, and then we can also take one thing at a time. So when we master one, then we can implement the another habit, and that way as a family too, we all heal together, because this Ayurveda is all about healing, right?
Absolutely.
It's all, yeah, I like these small practices, and we all moms can squeeze into our daily tough schedules as a mom, full-time working or whatever, we all do. But
the other thing I wanted to add, the way that you can implement abhyanga, perhaps when the child is a little bit older, is that you do a massage train. So one child is massaging the other, and you're massaging the other.
I like that.
You learn to massage each other. It's a great way to just pacify the vata. And
I'm gonna do that.
Yeah.
Because currently what I do is I do I personally, or it's either me or my husband or my dad, and so we'll give a good massage to them. So once I'll do my little one, and then I'll do older one. By the time I'm done, it's literally 45 minutes. So I think I like this practice. I'm gonna try this whole train thing. I do the older one, and the older one does the little one does to me.
Yes. And I think it's a great way to utilize time as well.
And it makes it fun. And so when you add that fun element, it might, it'll be it'll be fun. That leads me. So if you're a new mom, if somebody's new, are there any resources that have really helped you on your journey that you would recommend to our moms who are new to these practices?
Sure. So one of the resources that I personally love, because us moms, we're always cooking, we're always feeding children, is Divya's book called What to Eat for How You Feel.
How do you feel? Yeah.
And it's absolutely amazing. And so if you say, for example, it's winter time and your child has a cough, there's a great soup for, ways that you can have soup or spices you can use to implement getting rid of that cough.
Yeah.
That's a really great book, especially for, it's a great family book, and it's got Ayurveda theory in it as well. And, you can learn to cook consciously of how to basically make your family feel whole and well.
At the end of the day, it's all about how conscious we are with what we do, how present and mindful we are. And Ayurveda really, really teaches us that. It nails it down. And that's why it's trying to slow us down to speed up in other way. And that's the thing that I got, I'm so fascinated that how it's making me aware of my body. So it ignites the body consciousness, mind consciousness, and and then and that leads us to the soul consciousness. And so that's what I really, really love. So is that the only book would you recommend?
Other book, if you want to more of theory, you want to know more about theory and what constitution you are, et cetera, I would recommend Dr. Vasant Lad's book called Ayurveda. That's a really nice book. It's a simple read, short. I know mothers don't have time. It's a small book. That's a good one.
That way we can find out our own prakriti, and we don't do something that's not what our body needs at the moment.
Exactly. And the last one is, I know us mothers, we're always looking for natural remedies. How do we fix this? How do we get this? This. So again, Dr. Vasant Lad's book called Home Remedies is a fantastic.
Those three are so good. Yeah, I have that. And it's that book actually was really the reason I love it, because it tells you if you're a Vata, do this, if you're a Kapha, do this. And so I really like how he nailed it down.
Yeah,
not doing something that's not benefiting our body.
Yes, and he's reputable, and he's about.
Love those resources. Thank you, Shyama. We really appreciate.
Pleasure.
That leads me to my next question. What do you wish you had known when you started out? So our moms who are about to start with these practices, because of all that you're sharing, what would you recommend? Like, what did you wish?
That's really a good question. I said, I remember, I would just basically think all this herbs and all these spices are hocus pocus, but I would say give herbs a chance. As mothers, we're very quick to think, okay, let's go to Tylenol or ibuprofen or whatever, or some other drug. But actually, don't be so quick. Our bodies can heal. And obviously, you need to get medical advice, but this is, what I'm saying in terms of Ayurveda is, if you are going to use a herb, also consult your Ayurvedic practitioner. But give herbs a chance, because actually they've got less side effects. They do have side effects, but they've got significantly less. They're not synthetically made, and you can really maximize your body, your family's potential by really trying to use them in a correct way to maximize your family's potential. And that's what I love about Ayurveda as well, is that by living with nature's rhythms, you can really work with having a balanced, calm family. And that's the point of Ayurveda, is actually self-actualization, which is understanding that you are, sattva, you are soul. But that comes with living in nature's rhythms. When you live with nature's rhythms, perhaps you notice that you're meditating more, and your family interactions with your partner or your child is a little bit more conscious, or you notice that you're sleeping a little bit better, and that helps with your interactions. Or perhaps you notice that, things are just smoothly flowing, because if we're not flowing with nature's currents, which is going a certain way, and we're going the other way around, you're going to find it quite difficult to live in.
For sure. We're like going, if we're going in the opposite run, that's what we're going to end up doing. And I feel like, that's what we've been doing so far. Like all of us, like, just, and another reason, like how I wanted to add the point when you said, like, not just don't go for the quick fix like Tylenol or something. I used to be big on Tylenol, and then when I got into Ayurveda, the one thing that I started telling myself, I'm already a walking chemical factory. Why do I need to add more chemicals to myself? Our body is producing all these chemicals, like, from a science perspective, if we know. We're creating so many hormones and stuff. So now the nature is giving all these tools to us to calm it down, and bring it to the whole rhythm, because that's what we really, really, truly, we are. And we are not following that. And then what's the point? We're going against it. Really love that point. Thank you so much, Shyama.
Pleasure. And I wanted to say one thing, because motherhood is very, very Vata aggravating.
Very.
One of the things that Vata is the air energy in our body. And that makes us anxious, mind going crazy, dry skin, hair falling out, not being able to sleep, et cetera, et cetera. Favor things that have nature. So Ayurveda is just an aspect of nature. It's the science of Mother Earth, actually, and how we're able to follow her rhythms to maximize our well-being. And when you're able to maximize your well-being, naturally your mothering comes from a place of the heart. You're able to mother from the place of the heart. That's where unconditional love is. That's where unconditional service is. That's where unconditional connection is, and that's what your child is craving. So whatever you do as a mother, just know that we are we are natural human beings, and crave in this motherhood phase of life, particularly favor things that are of nature. So for example, how you can implement that is by perhaps going on a nature walk once a day, or going for a walk with your child. You will notice your nervous system calm down immensely. Whether it's you're lying on the grass in your garden looking up at the sky.
I love that one. Just, whenever and during summer, just go in my backyard. Sometimes even on my deck, like, because I'm afraid of like bugs and stuff. So then I'll just even go on my deck and like, just look out on the sky.
Yeah. And it's a way that you can connect with your child in a very deep way, but also just help yourself and calm down your nervous system.
Yep. It's all about calming down our nervous system at the end of the day. It's, especially being a mom. Love that. Love those little practices. And, so all you moms, give it a try, whether it's a stewed apple or oil massage or, nature walk, anything that is, or sipping on, warm water with spices. So yeah, just give it a try and see how you feel. Let us know how you're doing with the practices and stuff. Shyama, are there any new projects that you're working on that you would like our listeners to know about?
That's a really good question. So I just want to, we're having like little motherhood chats to help your mothering. So I'm doing a little live with Nidhi Pandya about Ayurveda with kids.
She's
and
best.
She's great.
She's the one. It's so funny. She's the one who got me onto these interviewing podcasts.
Really?
She is she's so supportive. She's like, great. Now I feel like she's like my older sister. I get that warmth from her. And she's amazing. And I feel like most of the time, I'm learning more from her than I'm learning what I'm learning in my school. Because the way she presents everything,
she's so great. She's so articulate. And we need more people like that, because
we surely do.
Ayurveda can be so watered down, but it just makes it more authentic when it's coming from the sutras and the science. And the other thing that I want to do is, I'm continually trying to do that, is just making motherhood more accessible, and the challenges more accessible and talked about, because when we talk about it, we work on it together. And there's a saying that actually, a child, it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a village to raise a mother as well.
For sure.
And so I want to have that village for our mothers of the world, because it is the most important job of the world. You're creating foundations for people that will change the world. And, you're the way that you mother, the way that you are there for them is pivotal. So I want to be able to create that village. And so one of the things I'm doing is I'm just doing a few lives at the moment. So then the other one that I haven't published yet, but I will do, is called Mamahood, Chit Chat Chai, and made by Manjari. So she's one of my friends, and she cooks lots, and we're just going to have fun and chat.
That
and
is so amazing.
Motherhood.
Where can we find you?
So you can find me on Instagram, and my handle is @Ayurveda Mama Yogi. So I'd love to connect with you all, and come join our community.
And love Shyama's work. And so I'm gonna leave your handle in show notes too. So everybody go follow her work, because she's legit, she's like really sharing what we're not even talking about. So sometimes, we have all these issues during our day or with our motherhood, and we're afraid to even talk about it. And you really put it down with the perspective on your feed. And I really love that. Recently, your birthday post was amazing. I was like, that just gave me an idea how to celebrate, my child's birthday during this uncertainty time. So everybody go follow her, and just get to know her too. She shares a lot of practices and new, fun activities to do with our kids. So I love it. Another, one very last question before I let you go. It's from my son, and I have to ask you, if you were to be a food, what type of food would you be and why?
Is this like what type of food I would be permanently, or is it like something that, can I change it?
Oh, you can definitely change it.
So,
like a seasonal fruit, like, seasonal stuff, like how we go in Ayurveda.
So right now, because it's the kapha season, I'd love to be Corella or a bitter melon. It never was my favorite food, but it is now, because I know the health benefits. But actually, it's one that tames blood sugar. But it's so great. It's a detoxifying agent. It's just great for eczema. It's got a bitter taste, but it's really, really wonderful.
I love bitter melon.
Yeah, for the summer, I'm sorry, the vata has to change.
Yeah.
I would have to be a mango.
Me too.
I absolutely love mangoes.
Oh, I love it too.
Yeah, and it's a great laxative as well. So if any vatas are suffering from any constipation, it's great. And the other fruit, I guess I'll be for autumn, is apples, because they're in season, and I eat them quite a lot. And for winter, I'd be an amla berry, because
I love them.
Great vitamin C and great for immunity during
my son is gonna love this answer, because you really gave him that why that he's looking for. Because he always says, I want to be a scientist. I see my mama doing stuff, and so I really want to be a scientist. And so he likes these reasons. He likes the benefits. So, and it makes it easier to, like, when we explain something to our kids, and if we give them the why, it makes it easier for them to follow, and it gives them, that, I don't know, the faith or whatever we want to call it.
Yes.
That it gets them doing the practice that we really want. So yeah.
Exactly. And that sort of ties in with whatever practice you are going to do, or know the reason, because when you know the reason, you may realize, actually, I shouldn't be having so much ginger tea because it's not good. I have heartburn.
Right.
So it's really important to know the why.
Exactly. And when we know why, we also go deeper, and it benefits us more and creates a ripple effect. So thank you so much, Shyama, for taking your time out and doing this. Like, you literally had like so many wisdom bombs, and so many those little, and I call them wisdom nuggets, like, those nuggets to help us out, in our motherhood. So I really appreciate your time, and I hope all our listeners, benefit, and go follow her.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks for listening to Raise to Rise podcast. We would absolutely love to hear your thoughts about today's episode. Please let me know you have listened to this episode and fill me with your aha moment. Share it on Instagram, tag me with #RaiseToRise or @RaiseToRise, and I would love to share those to my stories and shout you out there. I would also love if you can subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. It's our brand new podcast launch, and we have some bonus giveaways going on for the top raters and reviewers. Also, I would love to send you my 7-day parenting journal absolutely for free. All you gotta do is leave me a review in the iTunes store, take a screenshot, and email it over at raisetorisepodcast@gmail.com. Again, take a screenshot of the review and email me at raisetorisepodcast@gmail.com, and I will send you the 7-day parenting journal absolutely for free. Thank you so much for being the active listener of this podcast. I am so grateful for each and every one of you. Thank you for raising your consciousness and rising as joyful beings.